Midterms fast approaching and a full 6 months after November's electoral drubbing, the Democratic Party appears to still be in fact-finding mode. The New York Times reports that party donors and strategists have been gathering at luxury hotels.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm not poor.
To discuss how to win back working-class voters. And they're spending $20 million on an effort to try to figure out how to speak to young men. Quote, "It is codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men."
Really?
And promises investment to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces.
The party plan to avoid being swept in every battleground state again by spending $20 million to study how to speak to American men.
I read that. They want to spend money to learn how to talk. That's fake. You don't want to be fake. You shouldn't have to hire consultants to say what America needs, because then the consultant should be running the deal, not them.
Imagine you're using my money, my tax dollar, to prove to me you're not anti-men. Do you really need 20 million?
They want to spend money to find out what they did wrong. And I mean, I can tell you what they did wrong. I can tell you every one of their programs, when they say men playing in women's sport, when they say transgender for everybody, I think that's not a winner. When they say open borders so the entire world population of criminals can pour into our country, I don't think that's a winner. I mean, I just gave them that for free, but I don't know if they'll change their.
They're having to use anthropologists to figure out how to appeal to young white men. How do we talk to this strange and breed of American citizen that we've never wanted their vote before, but now we do? Sorry, I don't have that New York Times article, the Project Sam. You're like, are we sure this is not an Onion article or a Babylon Bee article, right? Like, it's right out of it. It is laughable, but I'll tell you, they did this. I remember a staff member of mine, I told this with Saliza earlier today. Man, I remember a staff member, this was during fall of 16. Hillary Clinton was doing a rally, and it was like, I'm going to be the president for African Americans and Latino Americans. And she just went down the list, right? You just pick your identity group, and she went down, young American, da 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 da. And my staffer goes, so she doesn't want my vote. She didn't ask for my vote. And he's a white male.
The struggle was real.
Yeah. She didn't ask for any man. The only, and so it was just sitting there going, and now you're like, oh, we've got a problem.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, you spent 15 years essentially ignoring that vote. And in fact, not only ignoring it, interest groups going out of their way to marginalize that demographic group. And then you're shocked when that demographic group doesn't think the Democratic Party wants them to be members.
And there comes a point certain people just don't feel that, because people can care so much when you don't care about them. Dilo, remember to subscribe.
Speaking with American Men plan promises to invest in syntax and language to connect with men. It also recommends advertising in video games and avoiding a moralizing tone.
Why?
Remember when I said they mess up all the games by adding things that I never asked for, all these politics that I try to escape, now I have to see it in a game?
Your book? You said you want to help people!
Nobody read it!
Yeah, because it was shit. I think most of this game was written by a woman.
Help me!
No, it didn't. Shut the f*** up, Peter. You're such a bad liar, really. Your book helped me, MJ.
Rahm's not the only one with ideas on how Democrats can win again.
The Democrats have forgot that maybe we should just talk to people like people. We don't need to do studies on it. We don't need to meet at hotels. How about we just go to community meetings?
It is not the question of what the party's image is, but is what does the party stand for? If the party takes positions on issues that are weak and woke, it will seem weak and woke.
Yeah, I don't think nationally the Democratic brand helps very much anyway. I mean, anywhere. If it did, we wouldn't have lost to Donald Trump twice.
Yup!
That Democrat is right. Listen to the Democrat that seems right-winger, because if I have to be honest, there's a greater chance I want to listen to that half left-wing right-winger than a left-winger.
Mr. Leader, you brought up polls, so let me tell you about a new one that just came out here at CNN this morning. It shows that Only 19% of Americans say that your party can get things done. 36 say the same about Republicans. And just 16% say your party has strong leaders.
Wow.
It's pretty rough, and you are one of those leaders. How do you turn that around?
Yeah, we don't have the presidency right now, so that's always going to be challenging a few months after a presidential election. But we have to continue to make the case, one, that Democrats, of course, are the party that is determined to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, for hardworking American taxpayers, that we believe that we need to lower the high cost of living, which for decades has been going up while the size of the middle class has been going down. So understandably, there's real frustration amongst the American people. They should be frustrated.
But they're
Housing
frustrated
costs are
with
too
you
high.
as well,
Child
with
care costs-
Democrats as well.
Yes!
Of course, they're frustrated with the system.
This guy is super disingenuous. You want to make America more affordable. You want to help the freaking middle class. Then you tax the middle class, and who are you going to help? You help more immigrants. Not even immigrants. Huge amount of illegal immigrants.
I know I may be alone in this, and I very well may be the only person in the MAGA movement who actually loves the idea that Olivia Giulianiana has been tapped by the Democrat Party to figure out what went wrong and to bring those young men that voted for Trump back into the Democrat Party. I think it's a fabulous idea. I think she's the perfect person for the job because no other person that they could have found could possibly be more disconnected from reality than this woman.
I'm the person that's in charge of bringing young men back to the Democratic Party. Every single time I saw one of y'all posting about me, I had one main thought at the top of my head. Y'all are a bunch of...
I mean, I know if I was in charge of bringing young men back into the party, the first thing that I would do is make a video talking to them like that, because that goes over well when you're talking to young men.
Y'all are the ones that made it about a woman and her identity and the way that she looks.
She's also apparently a lesbian. Her profile on the website for the National Union of Healthcare Workers, don't ask me why she has a profile there, says that Giuliana, quote, identifies as a queer, plus-size, disabled Latina.
Young men love to be talked down to and womansplained by somebody who spends half their time talking about their body shape and their sexual orientation.
You don't actually give a fuck about young men. Will y'all actually raise young men's wages? Will you actually increase funding to mental health services?
I mean, imagine for a second that you were tapped to go out and recruit a bunch of young men into your party, and you are doing it absolutely convinced that one of the top two things they care about is funding for mental health.
No, not really.
I'm here to tell you, it's not. But the worst part for her is that she has absolutely no idea that the reason why young men's wages are down is because of the very policy that she spent the last 4 years screaming at the top of her lungs for. Unfettered illegal immigration into the country. Because what young men want the most is they want economic security. They want job opportunities. They want the ability to train and learn a new skill. They want to be able to come out of high school or come out of college and get that first entry-level job so they can develop the skills today that's going to allow them to raise their own income levels. The problem, all of those entry-level jobs, all of those low-skilled jobs where you can learn a trade or a skill have been gobbled up by the millions of illegal immigrants that people like her have been demanding be allowed into the country. Young men, by and large, don't care about mental health funding. They care about being treated like young men with respect. They care about the opportunity to raise a family without being made to feel like they're doing something wrong simply because of their gender and the color of their skin. Young men care about freedom and opportunity and the ability to earn a living for their family and provide for them. And people like her absolutely destroyed that with unfettered illegal immigration into the country. The number one issue for young men who fled the Democrat Party was illegal immigration. And she has no idea.
Or are you just going to find another way to deflect from the fact that y'all don't actually have any policy plan to help them? Y'all can keep making this into some kind of big joke of, oh yeah, let's send her to every frat house in the country. I'm not afraid to go into frat houses or to go to college campuses or to talk to Republicans because unlike y'all, I don't think that they're all shallow assholes. I think that they're actual people who can hold a conversation. But clearly, based off the way you talk about them and the way that you treat them, you think that they're dumb as shit.
First of all, Democratic Party used to talk about Me Too consistently when you mention frat houses. So the fact that suddenly you came with a positive message, I don't know, it sounds a little disingenuous. And the way they're like, well, if I lower my weight, are you going to raise the wages of the men? It's just like I can say, if you got the black vote that keep voting for you, will you finally help them and not the immigrants that are coming illegal in the country and you're going to give them 5-star hotel? Amen. If you want to talk about this ingenuous act, you are the leader in that.
Yeah, good questions. One, let me save the folks from the Times and all the other great, print outlets some time. If you dig in on what Democrats are researching right now, you're going to find a lot of silly stuff. You're going to find people asking a lot of questions, people asking about syntax and do I drop the G from this word and this and that, and it's going to be a lot of that. So let me just warn everybody, that process is going to be very obnoxious for this 40-something. I would also say, we're really talking about young men, right? Young men who Democrats have not figured out a consistent pitch for how to get in front of. And I think it starts with authenticity.
It doesn't start with authenticity. It has nothing to do with authenticity. It has to do with policy. All of the policies that Democrats push disadvantage young men. Policies like gender parity, other types of things that advantage women over men, a Karen democracy, a Karenocracy. All of these things put men at disadvantages. The idea that any sort of rough language or, like aggressive male behavior is automatically scary and it needs to be reported by HR and you shouldn't be allowed to act this way. The fact is that when a lot of guys get together, this is the way that they act. And if you don't like that and you don't want that to be the case, that's fine. But just don't expect those people to vote for you. When you demonize and basically make these people out to be like they're bad people because, for whatever reason, you don't like the way that they communicate, don't be surprised whenever they vote for you. Why would a young guy want to vote for a person to tone police them, tell them what to do, and then give other people advantages that they don't have access to? Why would a young guy want to vote for that? And do you remember that other thing, like with the DEI stuff, and a lot of guys that are black or like Hispanic or Asian or whatever, remember that one video that we saw that it said that something like 90% of the beneficiaries for DEI are women? Well, what the
That's the point. Why would I want to support something that usually doesn't support me? It doesn't make any sense.
The left is in full crisis mode trying to figure out how to reattract young men. Good luck with that. And the strategy is built around getting men to be more pro-abortion, more pro-gay, and more pro-BLM. According to this, the face of masculinity for the Democrat Party, apparently.
I spend a lot of time on college campuses. I love young men. I love frat guys. And in that, I realized, even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who supported Black Lives Matter. And so I feel like people just kind of lump them into this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
Whoever is out there listening, I beg of you, truly, I beg of you, keep doing more of this.
And they don't know how to change it. I think that's their mistake.
The reason why Republican messaging resonates with men is because men want bad things, right? It's men want to have sex and own women, right? They want to dominate everybody. And Republicans say, you get to do that. And then Democrats can't say that. So we just lost men. It's over, right? What are you talking about? A lot of times it will be men that are liberals who will agree with that shit. I'm like, dude, what is going on? There's a lot of men that don't think that way, obviously. And it's just such a negative view to take on half of the human race.
Who said that?
How can you have this messaging sent to a person that has never seen the left-leaning and the right-leaning party and be like, I'm talking in the way to remind them I'm an ally?
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam jam, turloqueta, verdetta, welcome.